Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
roll call.
There's Luby. Emily. Hagbarth. Here. Hag.
Michael, it's you. I'm trying to mute.
Working on it. Sorry.
My now. He's absent.
He messes, yeah, he's trying to get on Zoom, so I don't know what,
Okay. He's not there yet.
Pincinel.
present.
Okay. Public comments.
We just want to have Dennis introduce himself.
Okay, yes.
Should I stand?
You're good.
I stood. Dennis Farr, I am a 4-year-old resident of Weston. I am the general legal counsel for L&S Electric. Work over here off of Mesker. I've been an attorney for 18 years now, or a little less than that. In general legal counsel for a number of software companies and database companies, and now for L&S Electric, doing the motor repair business stuff, and love working with Jeremy Lewinsky and a bunch of the folks over there at L&S Electric. Super excited to be here. I saw the notice in the newsletter saying there's an open position and looking for somebody being part of the finance and human resources, to have some human resources experience and an MBA and a lot of legal experience. And if I could be of help, I'm happy to be a part of the team.
Welcome, well, welcome. Yes, we need, other than these two ladies, we're kind of shy on HR. Okay, welcome. Approve of minutes of the previous finance and HR meeting of November 18th. What's your pleasure?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Motion by Hackbarth,
Second?
second by Pincinel. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Acknowledge work product transmittals. Item 5, November budget status report. Any updates or anything?
I guess present, or we have the summary presented. If you have any questions, other than that, we're still looking, as we're gonna have a good surplus this year. So that's why further in the packet, we do have a budget amendment that we're gonna look to get approved.
Oh, we can't close the door. I'm sorry. This has to remain an open meeting. I'm sorry.
But the chair can call the meeting to order.
They're going in the hallway. They're going out.
Sorry.
That's all they needed is somebody to shut the door.
We didn't even have to tell them to move. We didn't. They're like, oh, we're being too loud. Okay, now what were you saying? I'm sorry, Jessica.
So there's a summary in the packet. We are still looking at having a surplus in the general fund. That's why later on in the packet, we do have a request for a budget amendment. Do you have any specific questions on the budget? Or in the budget status report?
Any questions or comments? Okay. Do we want to go through the 3 and then acknowledge, or do you want to acknowledge separately?
You could acknowledge altogether as long as any questions are answered on all 3.
Do you have any questions on the TIF expenditures that are in the report? The major ones still, I think there might be some from Weston Avenue. Other than that, just a lot of the regular payrolls that go through the TIFs.
Any
I'll move to
questions?
acknowledge item 5, 6, and 7.
Okay. Motion by Husheng for acknowledging work products 5, 6, and 7. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Pincinel. On the question, Mr. Pincinel.
Yeah, what is SBA? I mean, it's small businesses.
Oh,
Yeah,
SBA is the
yeah.
tower. SBA tower. That's the
Okay.
legal dispute, I think, for 5 years now. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's in the legal report.
Yes,
But
SBA
it's
towers.
as brief as it can be without saying anything, so it just says SBA 927 and 930.
SBA has been on our invoice probably for the last 6 years, I guess.
I just got married to this thing a couple of weeks ago, so.
Um, it's something that we should have a resolution and it's not done yet.
No, Attorney Edie has said that we're close, but it's the charging for separate antennas on the tower that SBA rented from us for cellular and for service.
It's literally been, I think, 5-6 years that we've had this lawsuit.
They sued us back, if
Yeah.
I can, they sued us $1 million because we restricted their business, which we shouldn't be in this game. We don't know this game. And we're pretending that we know this game, and now we've given up all of our revenue for the last 6 years with legal fees. And we need this to be
Yeah.
over with.
We
Yeah,
spent
I agree.
a bit on legal fees.
Mhm.
Okay, any other comments? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, so carried. Old business. Item 8, discussion and or action on addition to the employee personnel policies and procedures handbook, chapter 14, section 8, exit interview procedures. What's your pleasure?
If you'd like to forego a motion and have conversation, I'd leave that to the committee, but there was a draft in the packet.
Yes.
I have Okay, can we maybe get it on the table, have a motion in a second?
I'll move to approve.
Okay, motion by Hushains, and a second,
I'll second.
second by Pensnall. On the question, okay.
I have one last question. On the employee separation and retirements, chapter 14, you have some language about dismissal. So it is number 1403, number 4. Employees who are dismissed for unsatisfactory performance, depending on the circumstances, may receive or may not receive cash payment for all remaining accrued PTO, or may receive a combination of paid and unpaid. I think that's a little risky to not have specifics in there because it could open you up for discrimination suit of some sort later if you opted to pay this person their PTO because of this, but yet you don't pay the next person. Originally, you had that if they were dismissed for unsatisfactory performance, that they would not receive a cash payment for all remaining amount of PTO. I think that's more clean unless you delineate specifically what kind of conduct or performance would justify no paying out of the PTO. The way it's stated now, I think you have risk.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's just the next agenda item. That would be the approval for the next one, for the
Oh, okay, the
overall
next one,
chapter
okay.
14. But we could make that more clean. I think the piece of that is if unsatisfactory performance is maybe to the effect of this is not a good cultural fit, but there wasn't purposeful wrongdoing. But I think that was some of the thought behind that.
So I think you would still need to further clarify that in your language. Because you could still, who's defining that?
That's all?
Both on page 76 and 77. I didn't see it on 76, but it was just referenced. I saw it in the chart on 77, but it only says cash payment. So does this mean we're gonna pay $100 bills? Is it, I mean, is it direct deposit? Is that in opposition to the way that the document is written? It says cash payment. So I'm expecting $100 bills on my desk.
It comes as part of your last check.
I think you could clarify that then instead of saying a cash payout there, unused PTO, unused and accrued PTO balance would be paid out on the next available payroll cycle to further clarify, but I still think you need to clarify what is qualified for not payment of your PTO.
Would we maybe like to, what do I want to say, table or postpone till next meeting to get the language correct more? Jim?
Do we have to have any clarification on what happens with like retirement benefits or any of that stuff, so if we're gonna pay the employee out for the accrued PTO, so for that 2 weeks of PTO that they have remaining, do they still get retirement for that 2 weeks?
That's gonna be outlined in your summary plan descriptions. There are certain things that you have to do
Okay,
and apply towards payment. 401k deductions are typically one of them that you see. So if they're doing a percentage or a flat dollar amount, that is usually one that you have to take out if they're getting payment of whatever.
We could clarify that there's no WRS benefits with the payouts, though. I think maybe that would
Yes.
be great clarification, I guess, if we're gonna further clarify what they're gonna get. Cause that is a separate benefit.
Okay, if you would like to put this on next agenda, you would have to.
I will withdraw my second.
Okay, withdraw your motion.
Would that also though be, because the motion was for the exit interview policy? Not, I understand chapter 14, we can bring that one back, but that's the next agenda item.
Okay.
What is the withdrawal also to take back the exit interview policy? And if it was, then what would we want to change in that policy?
Okay.
Motion was clearly stated, it was, I moved.
Recommend the policy of 14.08 exit interview procedures.
Certainly can take back the second, just wondering what would be any potential changes to 1408.
Question on D, every April, do you want to have that in there? Like or do you want to do annually? So you're not backed into a corner if you get stuck with a lawsuit or something else that creates significant work during that quarter? You want to just do annually so you're not backed into it?
I put April, just workflow through the year, but I'm okay with annually too.
I think that'll give you a little bit more freedom.
So do you want to make a motion to amend?
I'll make a motion to amend the exit interview policy from every April to annually.
Second to amend?
I will second that.
Okay, second by Benson. On the question? All in favor, say aye to the amendment.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now we need a vote as to recommend policy as amended. Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. I always gotta stop and think, oh, we've got the motion ready and then it's going, okay, we don't need another one. Okay. Now. Item 9, discussion and or action on modifications to the employee personnel policies and procedure handbook, chapter 14, employee separations and retirements.
One moment, Steve Meinel just joined on Zoom, if you would note in the minutes that he just joined. Thank you.
Okay, what's your pleasure?
Madam Chair, do we have to make a formal motion to defer action on to modifications of chapter 14 until next month?
Well, it'd be clear then to, yeah, to just defer to next month.
So I withdrew my second. I don't know if the motion was withdrawn, and then we'd have to remake another motion, right?
Right,
No, because you voted on your motion, because that was
Right.
for 1408. So there's
For
no motion on the
1408.
table for chapter 14 right now. But you could make a motion that we would bring it back next month.
That'd be different than number 9 though, right?
yes.
Number 9, yeah.
Number
8.
9.
This is very confusing. You sure you want to get into this?
Oh my God, I was just gonna say something.
I'm gonna talk you out of it, yeah.
So we need a motion to either recommend or reject or to?
I move to defer action on the amendments to the Employee Personnel Policy and Procedure Handbook, Chapter 14, Employee Separations and Retirements to the Board of Trustees. And defer action,
Just deferring action till next month.
The next month,
sure, until next month.
yep. Okay, I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Akbar. On the question?
One other suggestion for letter D. Right now you have unsatisfactory performance. Sometimes, like you said, employees don't intentionally do wrong. You might want to add in some language about misconduct related, because that more so would fit with that not being eligible to receive PTO. But I'd have to look at your handbook to see if you have misconduct defined. Like in your handbook, is misconduct defined anywhere in the handbook that you could reference? So we might take a look at that.
Yep.
And that'll be next month. Okay.
Yeah, and when you see it next month, then 1408 will be rolled into the overall chapter of 14. And we'll make some of these additions and corrections.
Okay. Okay, and yes. If you-
1405 does define or does differentiate dismissal, which is a for-cause disciplinary reason dismissal versus the releases and layoffs, which are involuntary employment terminations, which are non-malfeasance related issues. So there's a distinction already there. I don't know if you call it out in when things are, when somebody is dismissed or when somebody is released, but the distinction exists, at least in the language I see.
You just glued yourself to this committee.
Yeah.
You're in. You
Rolling it in right now.
actually can't get out now.
You're in.
Yeah, you're done, so.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Okay. All right, so then item 10, 2024 budget amendments.
So when we're looking at our general fund, which is our main operating fund of the village, we are looking right now, it appears that we're gonna have surplus. We still have some funds to move to the ARPA funding from the wages and the parks yet. We kind of got that number nailed down, but we'll be moving that for December. And we also have $105,000 that we need to keep as a surplus for this year in the fund, so we can fund the safer district, which we have applied surplus for next year. So what I'm looking for is to see if I can get approval from the committee to transfer any excess above $105,000 to our capital projects fund. As I noted in the RFC, that our fund balance policy is 20 to 33.3%. And that's of our subsequent year's budget. So the 2025 budget is 9.4 million. 33.3% is 3.3 million. Currently, we're at 4.2. So instead of continuing to grow our general fund balance, I'm asking for transfer of any excess over 105,000 to capital projects.
Good idea, less borrowing.
Did I say too much? Sorry. Yes.
Yeah, would that
Yes, Jim.
lessen our borrowing then for capital projects for 25?
It
Or
would,
that would take an additional $66,000 and now we can pave an extra, I don't know,
well, we
16th of a mile
just
or
borrowed,
something.
so it's not gonna lessen it, but if there's any overages or other projects that come up that are not in the CIP or that have problems or over budget, we'll have a cushion in there to fund those items. And if we borrow in 2 years, which I'm hoping, so not in 25, but if we borrow in 26 again, that would, if we have fund balance and capital, we'd be able to lower the borrowing then.
And so how do we? It's been my observation, if it's there, we spend it. So how do we not spend the $66,000 or $60,000? Like if you just move it over to capital, like it's just, oh, what's in the checkbook and maybe we'll spend it? Or
Got
how?
a capital project thing that they.
Yeah, I mean, any capital expense we bring to you guys for approval and
So just stay.
there's nothing unforeseen that I know of right now, but yeah. It'd kind of just be that, as Jessica said, it.
The pool has a major issue. We have a 450,000 budgeted for the pool, but if something major happens, we're able to fund that.
So what's your pleasure? All in favor signify by saying aye.
We got a motion here.
Motion.
Did
Okay,
anybody make a
we
motion?
didn't even have a motion.
No.
Oh, okay.
So if you look
I
at
was
the
just
Excel
trudging
spreadsheet.
along here. Okay, we need a motion to
Yeah, there we go.
approve the amendments as presented.
I recommend the village board approve the recommended 2024 budget amendment as presented.
Motion by Bouchang,
Second.
second by Hackbarth. On the question? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. All right, remarks from committee members.
See, you second?
I did.
Okay. I wasn't sure, so I just want to make sure it was right over here. Okay.
Jim, you have any comments?
Negative.
No, we have none either. Except welcome aboard. Okay, future items. Next meeting is January 20th at 2025, 5 p.m. Okay. Better
To
find
adjourn?
that,
Motion to adjourn.
motion to adjourn.
Good.
Okay, I didn't hear, Jim must have made the motion.
I did.
Okay, and Linda second.
I use my man voice
All in
next time.
favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion adjourned. Motion to good, meeting adjourned at 5:26.